called Shiur, written by the Chofetz Chaim, but Daniel Gladstein wrote a little pirush on it, and it's a very good sefer because it talks about Messiah, and I think that the more we talk about it, the more we'll get an understanding of what it's all about, even if we're not going to get a major difference. But what we'll be doing is, it will be something that you can relate to. Right now, Mashiach we want Mashiach now, and stickers all over the place, and signs all over the place.
You have one on your phone?
Yeah, and that's right. So there you are. So they're all in on the thing. Okay, but it's okay. But the idea is, stickers are great. It helps you remember things, but it doesn't give you an idea. If Mashiach would come, then what? Then what? And who is Mashiach? And let's not get carried away already. Eliyahu Novi, what's he going to be doing? He's going to actually be making shalom. His job is to make sure that we're all going to be accepting Mashiach. That's V'heshiv le'banim alavis or banim alvingis. Eliyahu Novi. Coming before is to give us the feeling that we are all in it together, and he's going to be rounding everybody up and cleaning up the messes that there's been throughout the centuries of different factions of Judaism, and we'll all be in the same boat, and we'll all be together welcoming Mashiach.
Every single Jew?
Every Jew. Every Jew.
Even bad Jews?
Even bad Jews. Well, let's see what's going to happen to those bad Jews. But we're not up to that. I think we have to worry about ourselves before we have to worry about the bad Jews.
That's what I'm saying. I'm worried about myself.
That's no. So, you know what? We're going to learn a lot more. In fact, the name of the sefer is called Tzipisa Yeshua. Yearning Chofetz Chaim. It's a special Jew. But this Rabbi Daniel Gladstein did something very interesting. He went and he wrote I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction. I don't know how much I can spend time on it, but the Sefer of the Chofetz Chaim is that much. The essays are that much. It's about 3 times at least. And the messages of the essays is really very important. And this is really what we have to know. This is the Chema. This is where he gets it all from. And this is where he elaborates on it, and he gives a whole new understanding of what Mashiach's about. And what's our job and what's our position in a lot of issues. Eliyahu Novi, how to work, what's the idea of Sheikh Ben Yosef, I don't know when he speaks about that, but we're going to speak about that. Also, maybe the Rambam doesn't mention anything about Mashiach Ben Yosef, by the way. He mentions 2 Mashiachs. One is David HaMelech himself was a Mashiach, and the second Mashiach is an Einikel. And that's the way it's going to work. It's going to be David HaMelech is the first Mashiach, and the second Mashiach, that's the 2 Mashiachs. I see the Shabbat Frank on the Rambam at the back writes why he doesn't mention the Gemara Sukkah, which mentions clearly about Mashiach Ben Yosef. So there's what to talk about. The message, let me just... as a historical point, which he does a very nice preface, is he says like this: when was the piece of the Shiur printed? When did he write this sefer? Interestingly enough, it was printed by his 1929 Harav Aaron Cohen. He's a son-in-law of the Chofetz Chaim, who lived at the time in Tel Aviv. 1929 in Tel Aviv. Can you imagine what that looked like in 1929 in Tel Aviv? It was a different world. Okay? And in the title page, he prints this book called Sefer, called Tzipisa Yeshua. And he writes like this: the current article on my master teacher, father-in-law Chofetz Chaim, became publicized amidst the Jewish people decades ago. In which he wrote it years ago. It's 1929. But because of the censorship, the Chofetz Chaim was compelled to include it as a supplement in the periodical HaPalas, and he got put it into the HaPalas, which is the name of a magazine in the times of old, They appeared at the time. Now it appears for the first time in publication for distribution among the Jewish people. So, in other words, the Chofetz Chaim could not write it. His writings was written as heretical. They thought that he was writing things talking about Mashiach for a goy means that you're trying to break away from the dominion, and you're trying to say that we're going to one day leave you and we're going to be your rulers and we're going to take over you. So it's like a book that might be misunderstood and easily misunderstood about the idea of we're worried about our being servitudes to these goyim, and we're trying to write a book about how we're going to get free from them, and that's the way how they look at our view of Mashiach. Okay, and it was censored. And how did he get out of the censorship? He printed as a period. I'll miss out the whole piece, but he printed it in the Hamadiyah here. In the Hamadiyah, as they lived that Hamadiyah in 1913s, he printed a little articles in the Hamadiyah that he just so it wasn't the book that went through censorship. The Hamadiyah is just like a newspaper.
Who was it that printed the idea?
It was Rabbi Rabinowitz, but the Chofetz Chaim sent it to him to be printed, the Hamadiyah, and that's the way how it was printed. The first Sefer was actually just like in the magazine section of one of the newspapers. So what never hit the censorship mode. But he writes over here that the Chofetz Chaim went through a lot. We're learning a little bit about pieces of Shiur, but there's a sefer from Rabbi Gladstein, which is very interesting. It's very interesting, not so much as the sefer itself and the translation, but the essays. He talks about a lot of issues that we need to talk about, and it gives you a little bit of a feeling, a nicer feeling towards getting to understand what is the differences between why do we have to be mitzapeh l'shua? What's so important? The Rambam writes, Kol mi she'eni mitzapeh l'shua is a kaifer. Is a kaifer. Believing is one thing, and then there's, that we say in our davening every day, Ki l'shu'atzcha kiminu kol hayom. You might not realize it. And we're talking to Hashem. And the Gamani, we're just going to realize that we're talking to God. You don't have to tell a lie to God. So when we're saying those words, I hope you're coming for a good share.
Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so you just came just the right line almost. We say every day in our davening, Klishu Oscha Kivinu Kol Hayom, that we are waiting for Mashiach every day. Now, is that true? Are we saying the truth when we're davening our davening? Are we allowed to say those words? The Rambam writes a lashon that Kol Mi She'ena Mitzaper, and we're going to read it inside. Somebody who is not Mitzaper for Mashiach. I read the words inside, so you call it. It's an unbelievable word.
Why do you think not? I mean, Mitzaper in Yeshua. What do you mean?
Well, so what does it mean, Mitzaper? What's it mean, Mitzaper? How do you think what it means?
I thought every day I should want to Yeshua.
That's it.
Why is it?
I'll tell you what the Moshe writes, what it means.
Do I actually do it? That I don't know. But
you say it.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say it? Are we allowed to say those words? You don't have to tell a lie to Hashem. Are you allowed to tell a lie? Are you allowed to say, I feel something which is not true? I mean, he asked that question. Himself asked that question. It's how can we talk to Hashem?
Why do you say Slach Lanu every day if you're not really?
The same thing with second later.
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you, you meant to.
You want to be that way. We go for the ultimate Ratzon. We want to be Mitzapah.
Very good. I think that's a good understanding, but I'll just read you the words where he says. Hine Yodua says, Haru b'Torah lahach midvar sheker. The Torah tells us we've got to keep away from telling a lie. This is the Chofetz Chaim. Even if it's not sheker, even if it's got a taruvas of sheker, the Torah says he brings a Gemara in the Shavuos. Afilu hu medaber im ish shekamoisa. Just talking to a fellow man. The coach can be medaber in Nasi Yisrael. If you're talking to a Nasi, you're talking to the king. Kal v'chem ben benoisha kal v'chem ben medaber im Hashem Yisbarach. Bevada yesh lezah melias David shekel v'onav. The Moshe calls of David shekarim liikain neged le'inoi. The Moshe doesn't like it. V'zafilim einim mazke shemosh lak shmocha. Just not any shekel. So befrat shu mazke shemoy al Indian zeh bevada. She says kishu oscho kivinu kol hayoyim. Mitzap. He said using Hashem said vada zach zehirus gadola bidin zeh. Al kei yipolim oid. Eich anu oimim shosh pa'almim b'chol yom aleinu l'shamayach. The Messiah al kein the kavalacha Hashem lekeinu liris meheira b'sefer zuzacha. We're saying every day I'm wishing, I'm wanting. Who wrote aleinu l'shamayach?
Shiur.
Very good. Who wrote al kein the kavalacha?
Look in the arts.
Okay, he doesn't say. I don't think he says.
He does.
He does.
Breaks it down.
Okay. Achon said it. Achon al kein the kava is Rosh Davis. Achon. Al kein the kava. Who was Achon? Achon was the person who was killed. He went and he plundered by Ai. When Yeshua went in, right. There was a problem, and they got a few people died, and there was a big rush. Not expected, totally unexpected that any Yid would die in the war. And they went and they walked it through, and they realized somebody plundered. He shouldn't have. His name was Achon, and he was killed. And they did a whole story over there. But Achon did tshuva just before he died. And this was his tshuva. Al kein the kavalacha is the tefillah that he said before he left. He says, don't worry, you should know, Al kein the kavalacha liris meheira b'sefer zuzachal. Lahala im hoyu mekava be'emes ha'kavod Hashem yiskal b'meheira hayitzorach kol echad lahachit atzmai ladas b'nyari avodah. This is where he tells you something very interesting. If you believe in something, start learning about it. Just learn about it. Learn about how to do komponos. Learn about how to do what the base mix is going to look like. Not because of anything else. If you really want something, show that you know something.
Would it be appropriate to wear Mishnah?
Exactly. Perfect. That's exactly what he's reaching to. Learn all the things that like midas. Learn all the Mishnahs to do with what the base of English look like, and get yourself a little bit in tune with Zvachim. You know, Dafayomi, learning Dafayomi, guys. So get in tune with it. Do you know that the whole brisk, right, started from the Chofetz Chaim. The Chofetz Chaim sent around to all yeshivas to start learning Zvachim Kodshim. And the only one who really took it seriously enough was the Brisker Rav. Chofetz Chaim told him to do it. And that's why we have today a Brisker, just probably the most successful of all yeshivas in today's world. Because it was done just because we were trying to create, and he himself, in the Chofetz Chaim Yeshiva, they started learning Kodshim. He tried to introduce the idea of learning things to do with the Beis HaMikdash. And that's what he says. We've got to start learning things. If we know that the king's going to come to the city, even if you're not even sure if he's going to come. I remember when I was a kid, when the Queen came to Manchester. When I was a kid, the Queen of England came to Manchester. You have no idea what the streets were late. I remember when Bill Clinton came to Newcastle in England, and everything, there was the whole town turned over. He says, let's prepare. I feel even if there are thousands of streets in the city, but you're worried which one is going to go down, so you'll do every one of them just to give at least a hepech of something. There's a beautiful picture of Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld with the Duke Ferdinand. There's a picture of it. They did the whole place up in Yerushalayim just because he's coming to visit them. So he says, let's do a little bit. I mean, that's what, you see, it's nice signs for Mashiach, but that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about adorn ourselves with learning the halachas. And there's a Sefer called Aruch HaShulchan HaOsid. You ever heard of the Aruch HaShulchan HaOsid? The Aruch HaShulchan wrote a Sefer. And he not only did it right on Abba Chalka Shulchan, but he wrote on where Mashiach comes. Now, what do we have to learn? We have to know about Trumas and Maisrus and Shvius, and then we have to know all about, and he goes through Karbonis and everything else, and we need to know, as Jews, when Mashiach comes, we're going to have to know that. And the Rambam writes, the Chayzit Kol HaMishpatim B'Yamav K'moshai Mekaydah Makrivim Karbonis V'Oisin Shmitten V'Yevles. It's going to be boring. No, it's not going to be boring. It's going to be a living life of a Jew. Will be very, very different, and at the same time, exciting. You'll have much less mafriim, things that are going to be bothering you. Your life is going to be much easier. We'll discuss a little bit how life is going to be if we get there. And this is what these essays are. But let's just go to a little bit more what he says. It's going to be bizoyan. We just like as if we said it all our lives and we didn't do anything about it. It's from our internals, is the kidneys, but it means our insights. How can we say to Hashem every single day? And it's not referring to Kedishas or Kvinit Eliyim, it's referring to the pasuk of Al Ken Lekavacha. So if you miss out Al Ken Lekavacha, it's a good idea because you're not saying any lies. Okay, but that we say Hashem Lekenu. If we say the words Hashem Lekenu as we're saying it, it's a much bigger avera, he says. Every, you see, that's Chav's way of thinking. There's 40 times a week. You're saying Hashem Elokeinu, Al Kain the Kabbalah. So you're saying you don't even think how many times you're saying Hashem's name every day. But he's working out how many times you're saying a lie with the words Hashem Elokeinu. He says it's frightening. You're saying 2,000 times every year Hashem's name, and you're not even realizing it, and you're saying it without concentrating. It's very frightening. I know. But there's two ways how to do it.
He's asking it just on this. I mean,
it's trying to wake you up. It's trying to wake you up. True, it's not in our power to be able to say every name of Hashem with concentration. But one thing definite, don't tell a lie with his So he's saying, wake up and realize, do something. Just do something. This is what my share is only. Just
saying if you're not doing anything.
That's the point. Just allow yourself to do something. That's all he's saying. Learn something that's going to say that I'm doing. So that's why you're coming to share. You're doing something, okay? So it's worthwhile that you came to the share because that's what he's saying. He says, just do something. You're not doing anything. You know what? I have a Dal Lekav's solution. He says, listen, I don't have to do that avodah. The guy Kohen, I'm not a Kohen, right? You're not a Kohen. Anybody a Kohen over here? Nobody's a Kohen. Good. So you could be Samech. Okay, those guys are doing it. Those guys are working on it. He's talking about himself. He was a Kohen. The Chavetz was a Kohen. So he says, me, I have no answer. I can say you have an answer, but I don't. Oh, then he quotes a very beautiful Gemara in. Did I quote the Gemara? I think I did it with you. The Gemara in Erevin. We'll get a Gemara. The Gemara Erevin. I think we did it. No, we did the Gemara Erevin. The Gemara Erevin says like this. A guy says, I want to become a Nazir, but Yom should be David Baal. When Mashiach comes, I want to be a Nazir on that day. The halacha is, the Gemara says, he's also to drink wine from now on, because maybe Mashiach will come, except for Shabbos and Yom Tov. Because on those days, Mashiach can't come. The Gemara goes through different halachas. The stop it came la halacha. You do my she'ama base. Hagula shniya she'ama gishbochu l'chag ha'anomi. She'alnu as a kohenim Torah. V'chein yeh bevani begula achrena kama tikta klima shleo de malajim. The Gemara says that the Chagai tested them after between the first and second, and they came back shkach. They came back, and they were tested. And it's a Gemara. It's a Gemara that they were tested. How many times a day do you have to bring Kalman Tamir? What's the avodah? They were tested. They were tested. It wasn't easy. Imagine now we're going to come. All the Kohanim are going to stand on line, and they're going to start testing them.
It's not going to be.
It's not good. Well, it could be good.
It could be good.
Yeah, if they come to the Shiur, okay?
Definitely help.
Definitely.
Purgatory.
This is what he says. And this is a very important thing that he brings out, and this I want you to learn this. Mutal al kol talmid chacham shebisrael. Lekvaya eis mei teisam leida dinim hashayach l'inyan hakodesh. We have to start learning the halachas as nekeya. And legabe mikdash v'akadesham v'hale yadua ma she'omer Chazal elef nechlasin v'mikra chelek esini mehem yitzim legemara nimshel legemara hu echad me 1 in 100. And at least we should have people who are K'mei B'chol Yisrael. There's Vadai Kohenim, Ish Lamden Lahavel La'alocha Hu Echad Mimeya, V'tesha Hem Anoshim Pshuta Hagabri, V'vad Sichel Lilmei Dimoyim, V'tidei Avoida. You got to teach them what's going to be in the Ger for every Yom Kippur. No Hilchas Yom Kippur. Learn Hilchas Yuma. Learn Hilchas what you're going to have to do. If you believe in Mashiach, start doing things. Instead of putting up signs, instead of putting up signatures of we want Mashiach now, I don't want to say too much, but more important is teach people the halachas on Mashiach. Let's learn about what's the world going to look like when Mashiach comes, and understand what it means. And he says, Al yale b'datcha. That one. Okay, I'll just read you 2 lines from before. What is Mashiach going to do? Hamalach HaMashiach. Hamalach HaMashiach. Osid lamoid lahachsa machos beistovet leyeshna hameshala rishon. Think about this. It's going to be somebody who's going to reunite Klal Yisrael. That's what he's going to be doing. And it's going to be a reuniting of Klal Yisrael about time. So, you could do work towards that. He says, and we're going to have one leader who's going to lead Klal Yisrael back to what it was originally. He's going to build the Beis HaMikdash, and he's going to mekabe Simcha Yisrael. All the people in all the different areas are going to be under one leader. It's going to gather them together.
You know, in Eretz Yisrael, they have a drill that in case there's a war, that hundreds of flights could come in at the same time. So it's
Now you know
it's
such a concept. In fact, before the times of today, we could not understand how is it possible to have everybody just coming in at once into Eretz Yisrael. But today, with planes, just the idea of planes already opens up a whole new idea. Before the days of planes, it was a dream. Today, it's possible. And now you say there's a drill. It's even much more exciting that there's actually the drilling for the day when Mashiach will come. They don't think it that way, but Lamaisa, that's what it is. It's all the Jews coming together all at once. And look what it says. The Chol Mishe'enim Mamin Boy, Oy Mishe'enim Mechakel B'Yosai, You know how strongly? Lo b'shabel v'im bevadu kaifer. He calls him a kaifer. If you don't wait for Mashiach, you're not thinking about Mashiach. And all it means is learning halachas. That's when Mashiach comes. Get it into your head. To get into your head that you've got to start learning a little bit. I'm talking to myself too, so don't worry about it. We've got to learn things. And I saw, he quotes from a lot of people, Rabbi Gladstein, about the importance of learning even things which is not the gear. Midas. Learn Mishnah's Midas, because you're learning about how the base of Midrash looked like. And don't worry, how much the new one will look like won't be the same. But at least you're going to get an idea of what's going on in the base of Midrash. So start learning about it, and it's not easy to have this type of shmooze. But he says like this, and I don't know where to start from, this one or this one, but I'll read you just one. Al ya'ala al da'atcha she'amelech HaMashiach. This is a Rambam. I'm reading you Rambam. It's nothing complicated. Easy Rambams to understand, hard to believe. Al ya'ala al da'atcha she'amelech HaMashiach tzach lasis eishes ha'moifsim. Don't think that Mashiach has to come. He's going to be a big Baal Moifus. He's going to be a big Rebbe. He's not going to be anything like that at all. That's not his job. His job is none of that. He's going to be a regular guy. Actually, Eliyahu Novi is going to bring peace so that we should have Mashiach. Watch this. Okay, well, no, I'm telling you. He does speak about Eliyahu Novi a little bit.
I would say the opposite. He's going to be the guy that's going to create the peace.
No. Eliyahu Novi, watch what he's going to do. He's going to do a lot, but Eliyahu Novi is going to create peace between Klal Yisrael. And just Mashiach is going to make peace between us and the rest of the world, right? But in between us, Meishiv Leiv always bottom al Avaiso is Eliyahu Novi. Eliyahu Novi is going to make that we're going to all be in this together. We're going to have a. Where does
Eliyahu Novi going to come from? I'm trying to do this in real time.
Okay, good.
For a malach to come,
He's not going to be He's not going to come as a malach. He's going to come as a person. We will not see him as a malach. It's going to be like a person who's going to be able to unite Klal Yisrael.
So there's two people. There's going to be one.
Novi, right? Livnei boy, right? We're going to get to understand it a little bit. And again, whatever I'm going to say, there's a lot of rayas one way and rayas the other way. So we're going to just read the Rambam and we're going to go through the Rambam. He says, I'll prove it to you that he's going to be just a regular guy. Mashiach is going to be a regular guy. Shahari, Shahari, Rabbi Kiva, Chacham Godel B'Chachmei HaMishnah. He was the biggest. Rabbi Kiva, right? Rabbi Kiva was the father of Torah Shabbat Peh, right? Rabbi Kiva. And there was a Yid, his name was Bar Kochba, and he saw him as Mashiach. And he would carry his knapsack. He would carry his stuff. Rabbi Kiva would carry back on. He says, this is the Melech HaMashiach. This is what Mashiach's going to look like. And Rabbi Kiva said, that's Mashiach. That could be Mashiach. You'll see in a second. He said, guys, this is what Mashiach could be. You'll see in a second how he didn't say it was Vadai. This is called Cheskas Mashiach. Until he got killed. Because of his Averis. Once he got killed, that's the proof he's not Mashiach. Mashiach is not going to get killed. And they didn't ask him any Isa Meifus. The Ravid argues a little bit. And he says, I'm not going to go to, let's go to, if there's going to be a person who's going to be a king, what do I mean? He's going to be somebody who's haigem at Torah. He's going to be working hard in Torah. Kefi Torah Shebiksav Torah Shebapeh. He's going to be a Rosh Yeshiva, a real smart guy who's going to be working in Torah, and he's going to be able to, a little bit like we see a little bit Lubavitch Rabbi and a certain one. That's why they got so carried away with this. And he is v'yokov kol Yisrael leilech v'ol lachazik b'daka u'lelochem b'chemes Hashem. How is that b'cheskas Shiur Mashiach? It's b'cheskas. It's a chazaka that this guy could be Mashiach. If you have a guy who's going to be going around building Klal Yisrael and building people to join Klal Yisrael, which he did a tremendous, beautiful thing. I mean, let's be a little bit political. The idea is you're allowed to say anybody's becheskas Mashiach. You're allowed to say a guy is cheskas Mashiach. And you're allowed to say a guy, if he's bringing people back to Yiddishkeit and is creating a world around us of Mashiach, that's great. That's becheskas hu Mashiach. But he's got to do two things. But he has to be menatzeach kol ha'umas shebesvivav. It doesn't mean he has to go through war. He's just got to be politically so strong that everybody will recognize him as he's the right guy, which Lamaisa was seeing a little bit in that area. But also this is the problem. He has to also build the Beis HaMikdash. The Kabetz Nivchei Yisrael. Once that happens,
We see kibbutz Tzidchei already.
Yeah, but he's got to build.
And I understand, but we see the kibbutz in the process of
yeah, but he has to also build things.
Beis HaMikdash.
Yeah, that's Mashiach Vadai.
You get back to land, it's the political system that changes it.
That's right. We're very close.
Just a bill.
That's right.
You think I'm
Shocking news. You build it.
You hear the temple?
Rabbi Reuben, I want you to build the Beis HaMikdash already. Enough. We have to go into they take it over and let's go. We have money from the inheritance.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is it. So now, he says if we can find somebody like Rabbi Reuben who can do it, who's going to actually make it happen, and actually build, that's Vadai Mashiach.
Okay, calm down.
Okay, but we're getting closer. Well, but you like the idea. You're already starting to talk. This is all he wants you to do. The Chofetz Chaim wants you to just talk about it. Let's not think about something in the abstract. Let's really get carried away over here. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's get carried away a little bit. Learn the halachas. Start learning the halachas. Okay, we haven't got Mashiach, but it's at us. What are we doing to be able to
be more of a reality?
That's all. That's all he's asking us to do.
Not just a foreign lie. He's worried that we were so distant from we don't even believe it.
That's it. No, dude.
You gotta get closer to believe it. You gotta learn about it.
What would we do if he really would come? It'd be too late.
We're not thinking about
That's right.
We don't.
That's right. And he says over here, "Lefi mitzukas azman motzu keis ba'asin rabim sheniskaimu kemat kol hasimonim." We're seeing mamish. We see everything happening. Chofetz Chaim's writing. It's all knocking on the door. He says the lashon that he just behind the door. He says the lashon it's just behind the wall. That's the lashon. He's just behind the wall. Yeah, he says that over here, but another place. He says Sheskam got calls case kirmagula. We have a responsibility to think about the gula. We've got to start learning about it. I want to tell you what it says in the Gemara in Sanhedrin. He said, you want to know who is Mashiach? I want to tell you who the guy Mashiach is.
The address of the number of the board. Sheep's got his word.
What do you mean? I think you got what was the address of Mashiach. Okay, why should I?
I wasn't that close, no.
Okay. So he was going like this. He was saying that you want to know who is Mashiach? Let me tell you who Mashiach is. He's one of the guys over there in the group of Abim.
Every leader relies
where he's constantly opening
His bandages.
his bandages and closing them, and not like everybody else is opening all the bandages at once,
Right.
and then putting them all back. He's so scared that he's going to be called that he's opening it and quickly closing it because maybe he's going to be called, right? He doesn't want to be stuck with a bandage that he's half on and he's got all his bandages half on. He's so worried that maybe he's going to get a cold now. Im Rega Echad Ede Kendai La'akiv Klal Yisrael La'neima Im Yovim Mashiach V'yem Elonu B'Shem Hashem La'akiv Karbonis, and there's nobody going to know about it. We're going to have to go to Brisk and we have to speak to all the Brisker guys. What's the halacha? You know, so that's why he did it. He made sure that there was a places that to know, and we're going to have to wait weeks and months until we're bucking the halacha. It's ridiculous. He says, start learning now, and then when Mashiach will come, we'll know how to do all the halachas of Mais and Behema, and we're going to do all the halachas of Chas v'Shalom. There shouldn't be any wasting time for when Mashiach comes. We should be zechet to Mehera al ket nekavalecha, liris b'Mehera, tiferes uzecha, lahavik gelulim in the aretz, and we'll be ready. And v'gamani, so on. Amen.